a warm welcome to this webinar on the topic of visualization and AI. My name is Magnus Isaksson, and I am chairing the Lean Forum organization in Sweden. Before I leave the stage to our speaker, Johan Lundell, I just have a few remarks. Since this is the very first webinar arranged by our Lean organizations in Norway, Sweden, and Finland, I want to send some kudos to Gaute Knutstad och Juha Tammi, who have, so to speak, my role in Finland, or in Norway and Finland. So thanks to you for helping out to make this happen, and we expect more to come in terms of webinars that we share between our countries. Practically, regarding this webinar, you might have seen it's being recorded, so you know that, so we can share it with more people afterwards. And we have said it will last for 45 minutes, and we will try to stick to that. If the discussion becomes intense, we might have to stay on, but it's completely okay if you have to leave at any point, actually. And Johan will speak for about 30 minutes, and then we have some time for Q&A. You can then put your questions at the end after the speech, of course, but you can also, if you want to, share your question in the chat. You can actually share it with me only by using the new chat functionality in Zoom. If you want to do that, I can receive it on beforehand and see if there are some groupings to be done before passing it on to Johan. And in that way, we can stay efficient during the Q&A as well. So, with that said, it's time to leave the stage to Johan Lundell. So, beside his expertise in visualization, the past few years, you have also, Johan, picked up on AI, and we are eager to find out what you have learned in this sort of where these two topics meet. And without further ado, I will actually let you introduce yourself in addition to that. So Johan, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. I'll start with my presentation just in a minute, but I am a visualizer. I come from the science of language. So I started off with words and have been for 10 years now working with trying to find ways how to carry meanings and get decisions done in better ways than just having to write or talk. So I start with sharing, and then we go through this, and please have questions, and you can put them to Magnus or in the chat, and we follow up on those. So is that looking all right, Magnus?
Yes, it looks perfectly fine. Thank you.
Good. So this is my little company, Nud, and my slogan is Reforming Knowledge Transfer. I'm looking at the actual knowledge, the actual information, and how to carry that. And this is the theme today, visualization with language models and chatbots. And you know, perhaps you wonder why on earth, what is a connection between visualization and chatbots? And the answer is that the chatbots and the language models, they make visualization extremely easy for not just for me, but for all of you. Now, all of us can be composers and designers and architects because we have language models that can make the software and fix the communication for us. So this is our minutes. I will start with 1 minute first, just with visualization and where I come from, and then we go through AI platforms before moving into visualization with AI and the visual workspaces. And then we finish off with questions. And these little thing in the left corner that's my advice and suggestions. If you don't pick them up when I talk, you can just see them. So I've pointed out the most important ones. And this is to start with. I believe that we need to understand the reality. And if you want to understand things, you need to get the information in ways where it's easy to learn, easy to see, easy to understand, easy to develop, easy to cooperate. And I claim it's when we make things really visual. For example, blueprints. In chemistry, take away this, just keep the words. It's not that easy, because this is more like the real world, their illustrations and their different notations, and they have lots of notations in chemistry. In mathematics, of course, the same. If you don't have, try to learn geometry without having anything but words, and it's not easy. So this is my circular, this is where I start from. I don't believe that words can convey these meanings. We can't communicate these things, music or maps or chemistry or mathematics. We need ways how to make things visual in order to understand and in order to develop. So the base of everything I've done in my little company Node for 10 years, it's show exactly the right information in the right form, at the right place, at the right time, with the right interactivity, so everyone can understand, execute, and develop. And the idea now is that for the last 3, 4, 5 months, the language models and the chatbots, they make this extremely much easier than ever before. So to start, and now we go all in. You can see, can you see my marker over design here? So we have lots of AI platforms that work with design. We have lots of them working mainly with code, and then we have some that has more or less all in one. The big ones, Microsoft, Google, Anthropic, OpenAI. So we are here today, we will focus on these ones, not all of these fantastic things, but require so many accounts, and you need to have so many different things and to start all over again. So these are great, but today we will start and have a little a little peek into how these work with visualizations. So these are the large language models. These are the engines of everything that we do through the chat boxes. And you can see the names here. All of these, it comes a new one every 3 months or so, sometimes more often than that. And we have from China, we have from US, we have from Europe now. So today they spend tens of billions of dollars each year just on development on these, and they get smarter and smarter and smarter all the time. But we cannot work directly with a language model. So these, to me, are the engines of the vehicles. So these are what really have the power that can, but we need to find ways how to work with it, how to get these extremely powerful engines to meet the results and the needs that we have. And in order to do that, then we go to these. We go to ChatGPT, we go to Claude, we go to Gemini, and we have different chatbots so we can have our own talk, our own voice, our own keyboard, and they connect with the large language models. Some of them use just one of these engines. Microsoft, they use several, and there are lots of different ones now that use several different large language models. And to me, this is the transmission of the car. So here's where we can work with the large language models in order to get our needs being met. But a car is much more than an engine and transmission. So now you wonder, what is then the real vehicle? Sometimes we might need a police car, sometimes we need an airplane, sometimes a train. What is that? That to me is the AI tools. So when you go to ChatGPT, the first thing that we do is using just a chat. Lots of people, they are just still here. If you use Gemini, lots of people are still here with the chat. But there are so many tools that you can just click if you want different things. You can have code, you can make apps in all of these, you can have pictures being done, you can have video, music. Gemini Deep Research is great when it comes to really heavy objects, if you really want to understand big, difficult things. But then we have Claude with the new artifacts and design, which is extremely interesting if you are into visualization and want to get visual results from the language models. So now you might wonder, which tool should I use of all of these? Well, all of them are great, but they are different vehicles. They are good for different things. So I've marked one of these, the design. We will take a little more close look into Claude design, but everything, when you wonder what to use, it's mainly what do you need, because they are good for different things. And this is just, it is pretty horrible. There are so many tools from so many platforms. So you really need to have your company or organization having a bigger grip, trying to really understand what goals do we want to meet and try to find ways to find tools that are good for exactly that. So in this presentation, I've used these four. So Gemini Chat, the Gemini Canvas, which is the code making, the app making, Claude Code, and Claude Design. And what's interesting is that this is 10 days old. So 10 days ago, it didn't even exist. And it came, and it has been extremely interesting. I watched probably 50 different videos because, of course, there is no education on this. There's no courses because it came 10 days ago. But the power is there, and it's there for me, and it's there for you if you want it. So my little advice here is to, if you don't have any idea on what these are good for, it's incredibly hard to do the best things with them because they are different and they do things totally different from another. So we talked about the vehicle, about the engine, and about the transmission. The fuel is the subscription. So if you pay more, you can ask more questions. You get more tokens. So remember, if you need a lot, then you pay a lot. And of course, all of these, they have different ways. So for example, Claude, here sometimes you can just get 1 hour or 2 hours a week when you pay for the $20 a month. Some of these they cost $100 a month. Some of them, of course, are very expensive when it comes to agents and so. And the gearbox, and this is where we will spend some time today, because the gearbox here is what you need to do in order to get things visual, and that is the prompting. How you act with a prompt, what you write, what you say, and what you upload. That is what will give you the results. So even if the engine is great, if you prompt badly, it won't work. Then you will just get, as you ask, that's the question you will get. And no one can do the push-ups for you. You really, this is something you need to understand, how to prompt, how to ask in order to get really good results from the chatbots and the large language models. So now we've seen all of these five. So we've had the engines, the transmission, the vehicle, the fuel, and the gearbox. These two, the AI tools and the prompting, is where we will spend some time today. But now you wonder, of course, what is visualization? I mean, this is not visual, the engine. The transmission is not visual. Fuel is not visual. Why is the visual thing interesting for a car or for a vehicle? Well, pretty much the dashboard is visual. The windscreens are visual. The maps are visual. The traffic signs are visual. The head-up display and GPS are visual. So in order to get a car to go to a place where you've never been, to do the things that you want to do, visualization is extremely important. And it's exactly the same thing now when we get the AI to help us with the visualizations, to help us take visualizations and meet the needs and solve the problems. So now for the rest of the 20 minutes here, we will go through what is the dashboard, what is a windscreen, what is a map when it comes to working with visualization with AI. So we start with the dashboard. The dashboard, you cannot have text on a dashboard. If you would have lots of text here, you can't take it in. You need to get it intuitive, fast. You should see it just with a second. Yeah, just a blink of an eye is too much to miss something important. So the colors, everything is important. And it's the same thing when it comes to leading people to get things done in a company, that if you can get a dashboard that is really, really condensed and in its way how to convey the information, it will solve a lot of problems. So, for example, this is now how I show the examples, what I do. So if we need symbols, for example, and then you say, but I'm not a designer, I can't make symbols. Yes, you can. You are now a designer because the AI tools make you a designer, all of you. So for this mission to get symbols, then I've tried Google Gemini Canvas. And the prompting is that I prompt the graphics information, what kind of pictures, the resolutions, if it's vector graphics, if it's lots of graphics information, I just write that. And then I upload basic lean information. And this small prompt, this basic upload, give you in 3 minutes this. And then you get the symbol system with the some lean symbols, and you can get them exactly how you want in whatever way you can mix. This is like 5 minutes work. So everything that you need for your dashboards, now you can do them yourself. You don't need a designer to do 90% of the work. This can do then perhaps 10%. You can fix it or ask somebody to help, or you have to prompt a few times more to get it perfect as you want to. But it's easy to now, and this is just a code making. We can get back and show it again. So this was Google Gemini Canvas, which people use for making apps, but you can always also create vector graphics that you can use in all of your programs whatsoever. I mainly use, when I prompt what kind of pictures I want, I usually say the SVG file, because the SVG, that is a vector graphics that you can scale as much or as little as you want, and it will never get any pixels. It's just perfect. It gets always sharp. It could be a meter wide and it's still sharp. So this is just the first easy example. So don't be afraid of things that are design connected, because now you are a designer. And this is mainly one of the 3-4 big reasons why some of the big software companies, their stock courses have been plummeting since the AI hype started. So when you have got these from the AIs, then keep these and then upload these when you want things being visualized for you, if you work with lean, for example, here. So it's not just something that you should be working with in a PowerPoint. Now, when you have got the symbols, you can upload the symbols when you prompt the next questions that you have, because then he will understand and he will start using the SVG files and the pictures in the next answers or apps or whatever you want to build. So, and I also point this out, this is extremely important. In order to understand reality, layers, these are layers. If you work with CAD or if you work with graphics, layers is the A1 is the first thing that you start with, is to get information on layers so you can see, do I want to see this and this and this? Or do I want to see this and this? Because information is to be seen where it belongs. So, and this is also possible. It's good, the more you understand, the better it is. But PowerPoint, for example, understand layers. You can put things in different orders to see things, and everything in HTML on the websites are also possible to work with layers. So now the next thing, windscreens. And windscreens give you perspective. And I believe that giving and understanding a perspective is extremely crucial in order to understand a reality if we want to make it better, if we want to develop it, if we want people to cooperate and to understand and to enhance things. If we can't have perspectives, it's really, really hard. And the problem is, of course, that if you have tons of words, it's hard to see the same perspective, because words are not the reality. I mean, reality is reality. If you have a music orchestra, I believe that if you write about it with words, you are further from the music than if you use music notation. If you have a building, of course, you can write about the building in words, but having a technical notation, a drawing, keeps closer to the house, to reality. So I believe that words take you further away from reality. So, and instead of trying to remember everything in order to take a decision, you never need to remember a map or a drawing in order to execute or develop it. Because you can look at the map and you can take decisions and you can develop things, because you have so much information on one piece of paper. If you just write about it, it's really, really hard to get even close to the same understanding. So now it's an example, and this is probably the most important example in this little presentation. So now I took one 79-page report regarding a snow chaos in Sweden in the beginning of 2024. And I had 7 waste principles, one slide, one page, a Word page from Microsoft Word. So this is the waste principles, what I wanted to find in the report. And this is a 79-page report. And of course, I just wanted to understand. Help me understand these pages. And I took Claude Design, which was most inspiring. It was the first day when it came, in fact. So I was up there immediately uploading this. And when uploading this, in 15 minutes, 15 minutes was what it took for Claude to make this. Yes, what do you think that I got? Well, I got this. So this was the first page. So they've taken, and this is just one screenshot. So there were like 50 different problems that they mentioned in the report. And he had read the entire report, and he had sorted them out after the different waste principles. And this is just the beginning. So instead of just doing this, and if you hover above it, then you get to the actual text phrase in the document, so you can read a bit more about it. When I click on this, and I clicked in those, yeah, I can just ask for AI help with how to solve it. And when I click these and ask for the help, then it gives you help to the actual principles that they have found. When I clicked on the waste cards, then all of these waste principles came sorted in another way. So I could read just the bottlenecks or the root causes or the variation in consistency. Next thing is even better. It's a marked up report text. So, and this is not a picture, it's not a PNG, it's not something dull that you can't work with. This is actually the text being formatted by Claude Design and finding the different waste principles in the sentences. And then we go on with the bubble maps and with the meeting load and info flow. And on top of everything, yes, you can download it as PowerPoint, you can download it as PDF, you can send it to Canva, which is another very good project. You can work with it in a team, you can zip it, of course. So you can work with this. And you can save it as an HTML file and then upload it to the other AI tools in order to work with it even more. And this is just one little example of 15 minutes with a 79-page report and how to get AI help in a visual way, how to read it in different ways so you can see different things, understand, see patterns, and so on. So and as I said, this weren't possible 2 weeks ago. So this came on not last Friday, but the Friday before that. Maps are extremely interesting because if you don't have maps, then you have to give people an instruction where to go. First do this, then this, then this, then this. But when it comes to a map, then you can read it from different directions. You can look at it, you can zoom in it. I believe that creating maps for the different knowledges, for the different information, makes it so much easier to really grasp the more complex things. So we'll have a little bit information, a little thing here. This is music. This is technical notation. This is a map. All of these are built on different data sets. I believe that all data sets require their own notation, because if you would take the CAD data and try to just view this with pie diagrams or staple bar charts or radar charts, you cannot understand what you can when you have CAD data as blueprints and technical notation. So I believe this is where we will be heading for the coming years, that there will be new, and who will do this? Well, of course, AI will do this, but we need to raise the bar and not accept dashboards just filled with bar charts and staple charts and the traditional things, but instead trying to get the different data sets to be viewed in a better, more ingenious way. The next thing here also, just I wanted to inspire a little bit. So many people today, they are happy with just viewing the reality. They don't raise the bar. They find reality okay. This is a picture of what the left picture here is London, and this is the subway lines. And instead of doing this, you can do this. And as you can see, this is not reality. the stations are really not here. But if you want to find what line, what color, where do I change, this functional visualization is much better than this because it's extremely easy. So understanding that when talking about visualization, you can always find ways how to get more functional, to be able to solve more things, to get people to take more decisions. I can see that I have to close in 2 minutes so we can have time for questions. I'm sorry, I've been more inspired than I thought. I just show one more thing to you, so you don't miss this. I just wanted to challenge Claude Design to see, can you do only graphical things, just graphical stuff? So I uploaded one logotype and one presentation from my company, one. And I asked, I want an entire brand book with everything regarding everything with design whatsoever. And I got a total, and this could cost $10,000 or $20,000 to get an entire graphic manual. And this was 15 minutes. And of course, it's not perfect, but lots of files, an entire library. And this was just one prompt, 15 minutes. And he made everything. And in the same way, whatever you need, if you believe that visualization is important, you can ask for things and you don't have to be afraid just getting lots of words back, because that's last year. Now you can get so much more. Perhaps I'll stop here. What do you say, Magnus? Should we stop and take questions? I think we should.
Yes, depends on how much you have left in your planned materials, but it's getting time for that. But we have only one question, so I think maybe we can have one more example before.
Yeah, but I think we it's always the fun thing is to have to interact and to hear. And what do you how do you find this? Did you know about this, or yeah? So I would love to have questions and
while people think about that, there's actually one question that we can start with from Willem, and it says, can you say something about security, confidentiality of the documents that are used by in this case Claude? Can we feel safe in sharing? I guess that's the underlying question.
Yeah, it's for the AI questions. Then usually you upload things, but for example, when you make an app for visualization, then you can run that app locally on your computer. But of course, I'm not a security expert, but this subject is addressed very much today, and some people are looking for Mistral, the European alternative, for example, regarding these questions. But I shouldn't say so much because that's not my area. But of course, you need to check what kind of information you're allowed to use AI help for, naturally.
Thank you, Johan. And Willem, you please let us know if we captured your question in the right way, or if you have any other comments to that. Good, thank you. So I guess the floor is open for anyone who have a question, and don't forget that there are no stupid questions. We are all, myself included, newbies in this, and suddenly I feel old-fashioned because I use the language models and expect text, and I'm quite happy getting text, and then I put it into Excel and do more stuff. Then obviously can stay within the bots. That's my reflection. So anyone else? A couple of minutes left in our scheduled time.
Yeah, I thought that when this came that I would use my other software in a lesser way, but it was to the opposite. So for example, now in my Excel sheets, I have formulas that are 5 lines long because I don't have to ask Excel or Microsoft anything. I can just say that this is my CSV file and I want all of the formulas in one way, and then I just paste it, and then the entire document is done because it understands. So it's I think it's what's holding the solutions back is that we don't dare to ask, we don't dare to step away, and we are standing, hindering the AIs from really solving our problems by not giving them the possibility.
Yeah, I thought your 7 wastes example up to that part in your presentation, it was still abstract. I was appreciated the metaphor with the car, but it was first when I really saw your example, what Claude in this case could actually do, because without having seen that, I wouldn't even know that that opportunity exists. And I guess
No,
that's
no.
what you say. We are the bottleneck in because we don't know what we don't know. Um, I'm just reading now again from Willem. It was very interesting and inspiring for me. I use actually LLM as most. This gives me another view. There's more information. I'm open to it, and yeah, I can only agree that. And when we planned this webinar, we didn't know about this Claude launch, right?
No.
So 2 weeks ago, it was a different presentation.
Yeah, and you know, everything there is today will be rubbish in a year from now. So I mean, this is just the beginning. So I mean, eh, I'm sorry to say, but I mean, lots of people will lose their jobs due to this because you get so extremely much more creative. You can be so efficient, but you need to step away and to really ask. So and it's hard to do because I mean, we know that we are good at different things. Now it's easy to just block the possibility to expand and to develop much more things. So it's so I mean, education. People have been starting talking about the role of academia. I mean, the idea of first having an education and then work for 40 years, it's dead. Now you need education almost every week because it's so fast. It's happening so fast.
Well, in lack of other questions, I actually have one that was triggered by your presentation because I was recently engaged in a project where I relied heavily on the language models to be my buddy, my wingman, so to speak, in tossing ideas, and quite quickly I felt that I didn't really could catch up. I was losing a bit of control, and since we know they are not flawless, that they are doing mistakes, I also felt nervous because I had to slow down and take my iterations in much shorter steps to keep the control in what I was developing. But what you are showing is obviously taking bigger steps. So that is what makes me a bit nervous, that I realize I need to take small steps, not for the limitation of the models, but for my limitation in keeping control, which I still think, but maybe that's fooling myself, staying in control. But this 7 waste in minutes, getting that kind of analysis handbook is forcing me to rely, and maybe I can't control everything. And how do you feel about that?
But I believe that we will have a need for more people to check because you can't rely on it, but it's much lesser risk of hallucination when you give them your own data. Yeah, a Claude design that is included in, there's no free application, and today you get the same amount of time for both the Pro and the Max subscription, but it's probably less than an hour a week because it's so extremely popular. So I believe that they will raise the charges pretty much, because it's if you know how to use it, it saves you a lot of time. So I believe it will be quite more expensive.
Okay, so there's a demand supply situation where it's not currently it's not money that prevents demand to come, but it's actually the availability of the processors.
Yeah, I mean the data centers and
Yeah.
I mean, so it's I mean I get some sort of I don't feel it's like when you're going out to swim and you feel you're not your feet is not touching the the sand anymore. you know you don't really know where are we going from this, what is this going to lead to. So it's
But to make yourself understood by the models, I guess we will still use words for prompting to a larger extent than maybe what the outcome would be. But so I guess what I have learned is to use AI to develop prompts. And I guess if you only have 1 hour with Claude, you can prepare that hour in another model which is for free, and you can develop that to sharpen your prompts elsewhere, so you don't waste that hour in basic conversations with the model, because you can do that outside. That's how I've learned to work with the limited resources. So taking a look at the time, we have a couple of minutes, but we are running out of it. So if you have a last questions, please you can speak up directly by unmuting or type it in the chat. Otherwise, we will turn this to a close. Time ran very fast. You also noticed that, Johan, and I think we could have stayed. But let's see this as a teaser. If demand is high, we can make more of this. So another comment thanking you, saying it was interesting. So with that said, I think we can at least close on time, which is good, which is a good thing. If you want to stay, I have any sort of, I think Johan and I will stay just for a couple of minutes to debrief. So if you have an individual thing to say, stay on. Otherwise, we will close the session. We will make it available if you want to share it with someone. It will take a couple of days before we can post it. But thank you very much for your attention, your comments, and your interest. And don't miss out on other future webinars coming your way, either in Sweden, Finland, or Norway. Thank you very much.